That is the field before the lines and bases are put down. The grounds crew performs the same ritual for every game on every field, laying chalk lines, putting down bases, mowing the outfield. It's as timeless as the game itself, and it's all in anticipation of two words: play ball.
It's time for Dixie Junior Boys State Championship Baseball live on the Beaufort County Channel. I'm Jody Vermilia. Welcome back to the Oscar Frazier. Field 3, the Leo Vanoni Memorial Field at Oscar Frazier Park, for today's elimination game between the Sumter All-Stars and the Seneca All-Stars. The Sumter All-Stars will be the away team, the Seneca All-Stars the home team. So Sumter will bat first here in the top of the first. I'll give you a rundown of Sumter's starting lineup. I guess we can do that quickly here. Sean Roush leads off and plays right field. Dylan Jones at second base bats second. Clark Kinney, the shortstop, bats third. Jess Schwedler will be on the mound for Sumter. He bats cleanup. Ben Reynolds, the catcher, bats fifth. We're set to go, so I'll finish that lineup in just a second. Carson Bay on the mound for Seneca, and he delivers strike one. No balls and one strike to Sean Roush. We're just underway. From Oscar Frazier Park, Field 3. That's hit out towards short. Knocked down by the shortstop across to first. It's going to be late. That'll be a leadoff single for Sean Roush. Ooh, that's awful. So leadoff man aboard with nobody out. I'm not. Anybody hear me if I talk? I don't think so, right? I can hear you, barely. I mean, I can keep talking on the microphone. I'm not sure if everybody's going to hear me or not. But. Runner at second with nobody out. Some technical difficulties from Oscar Frazier Park. I apologize about that. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dylan Jones. Sean Roush is the runner at second. And Jones swings and misses, and there's the first out here in the top of the first. That's a strikeout for Carson Bay. Runner now at second with 1 out. And Clark Kinney, the shortstop, will be the batter for Sumter. Carson Bay gives the runner a look back towards second and brings it to the plate. Tap foul. Past third, no balls and a strike. To finish out Sumter's batting order, Ben Reynolds is going to bat sixth. He'll catch. Check that. He bats fifth and he'll catch. Hayden Mims at first base will hit sixth. Chase Denton, the third baseman, hits seventh. Bryce Hodge, the left fielder, hits eighth. Blake Van Patten in center field rounds out the batting order for the Sumter All-Stars. Sean Roush leads off second. The pitch to the plate's a rip foul again past third. For the Seneca All-Stars, defensively in the outfield left to right, Joey McGovern in left, Braden Moore in center, Turner Wilson is over in right. Around the infield, Caden Hawk at third. Trip Cook at short. Aiden Evett at second. Over at first, it's Isaac Owen. Carson Roberts catches for Seneca, and he catches once again Carson Bay, the starting pitcher for Seneca. Rouse leads off second, and that's again rip foul past third. No balls, 2 strikes to Clark Kinney. There's 1 out here in the top of the first. Sumter with a runner at second. And there is no score, but Sumter tries to crack the scoreboard first. And that is ripped fair this time into left field and going to fall down in front of the left fielder for a base hit. Rouse had to wait to see if that was going to be caught out there in left field, so he makes it over to third. And Sumter with runners now first and third and 1 out. And Jess Schwedler, the pitcher and cleanup hitter, will now be the batter for Sumter. So runners first and third with 1 out. Schwedler stands in. Carson Bay gives the runners a glance at first and third. Runner moves from first, and he's going to make it to second without a throw. We've seen this all tournament long and even last week with the Ozone boys. Very aggressive base running, and teams are going to take the extra base any chance they get. So now 2 runners in scoring position for Sumter. Schwedler digs back in, right-handed batter. And he awaits the pitch from Carson Bay. Runners get their leads off second and third, high and tight. And it's 1 ball and no strike to Schwedler. 1-1, check the count. 1 ball and 1 strike, 1-1 pitch on the way. And that's hit over the pitcher's mound and going to trickle into center field for a base hit. That's going to score 2 runs for Sumter, and they take a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first. 2-run single for Jess Schwedler. And Sumter off to a good start. They lead Seneca 2-0 in this elimination game. So Schwedler becomes the runner at first, 2 runs in, and Ben Reynolds will now bat for the Sumter All-Stars. 2-0 visitor, so the 2's got to go on the left, and the 0's got to go on the right.
No, it is. They're backwards.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So 2 runs in here for Sumter in the top of the first inning. Schwedler, the runner at first. Ben Reynolds, the batter. Bay gets his sign. Runner breaks again from first. Throw down to second's a little closer this time, but in there safely with a stolen base. Who is that down there at second? What number is that, 18?
In there is strike 3, and that will be 2 outs.
They pinch ran for him, though. That's not who's running down there. So runner at second. Somehow, and I missed this, Matthew Lausen came in to run for Schwedler. So Lausen is the runner at second. So he gets his lead. The off-speed pitch catches the inside corner. So 2 runs in here for Sumter in the top of the first. 0-1 pitch on the way, outside, and the count's even now. What is the count? It's 3-1? 3 balls and 1 strike, the count to Ben Reynolds. Lowson gets his lead off second. 3-1 pitch on the way to Ben Reynolds. Here it is. Taken inside for ball 4. 2 more runners now on base for Sumter as Ben Reynolds trots down to first with a 1-out walk. Lowson remains at second, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Hayden Mims.
Number 66, Santino Patrol will be North Myrtle Beach's starting pitcher for today's team.
Mims digs in. The runners get their leads off first and second. And he takes ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes from Carson Bay. Like we've done all tournament, we'll give you some biographical info on these players, some fun facts as the game goes. As the pitch misses outside, and the count moves to 2 balls and no strikes to Hayden Mims. The pitch again on the way. Outside. And the count now 3-1. Check it, 3-0.
This thing's buzzing. They can't figure it out. I don't know if I'm cramped.
That's better. 3-1 pitch on the way is outside ball 4. At Sumter has the bases loaded here in the top of the first. 2 runs in for Sumter, and they have the bases loaded with just 1 out. And Chase Denton will be the batter. And now a visit from Seneca's coach. This is a big game. This is an elimination game, so the winner of this game will move on in this tournament. And the team that comes up short will unfortunately go home. So everything on the line for each of these teams. And right now Sumter has the advantage 2-0, and they have the bases loaded with just 1 out. Well, while we've got just a second, let's talk about some of Chase Denton's favorites. His favorite food, and this is cute, is Grandma's food. Anything Grandma makes is Chase Denton's favorite. His favorite movie is Shrek 3. His favorite sports idol is Bobby Boucher. He also likes to play golf. His hobbies include mowing the grass, so this is an industrial young man. And he wants to be a baseball player or a mechanical engineer when he grows up. Some good stuff there from Chase Denton as he bats with the bases loaded, 1 out and 2 in for Sumter in the top of the first. Right here from the Dixie Junior Boys Tournament in Oscar Frazier Park. That's poked into right field. Right fielder comes on and catches it. Runner at third tags. He's going to try to score. The throw's offline. He's going to make it. And the runners from first and second will move up to second and third. So another run in for Sumter. They now lead 3-0. And 2 more runners in scoring position with now 2 outs. Give Chase Denton an RBI on the sacrifice fly and give Sumter a 3-0 lead. Runners now second and third, and Bryson Hodge, the batter for Sumter. He lists steak as his favorite food. He likes the Atlanta Braves and Ronald Acuna, and he also cites Ted Williams as his favorite sports idols. Of course, Ted Williams, the last player in the majors to hit 400. That was a long time ago. That was in the 40s. That's even before my time.
Yeah, that's why I pronounced it if I'm wrong. Maybe it's Rouse.
2-1 pitch on the way. That was a 2-2 pitch, and now it's 2-3 as it's a strikeout of Bryson Hodge. So the top of the first comes to a close, but not before Sumter hangs a 3 spot on the scoreboard. That takes us to the bottom of the first. The Seneca All-Stars come to bat trailing 3-0. You're watching the Dixie Junior Boys right here on the County Channel. The Seneca All-Stars come to bat in the bottom of the first, down by 3. And they will send Trip Cook, Carson Roberts, and Braden Moore to the plate in the first inning against Jess Schwedler, who's on the mound for Sumter. Cook gets ready, and now he digs in. Right-handed batter. Schwedler gets his sign from his battery mate, Ben Reynolds, and the first pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1 to Trip Cook, the shortstop for the Seneca All-Stars. 0-1 pitch on the way. Misses just inside. The count's even now 1-1. One pitch is in the dirt, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike to Trip Cook. 3-0. The Sumter All-Stars have the lead as Seneca comes to bat in the bottom of the first. That's on the outside corner. The count runs even now, 2-2. We want to thank all of our viewers at BeaufortCountySC.gov and also those who have watched these games live on the County Channel. We thank you so much for your tuning in. This has been a tremendously viewed tournament, as was the Ozone Tournament. We thank you so much for taking the time. It's our pleasure to bring you the action from the Dixie Boys and the Dixie Junior Boys tournaments this week at Oscar Frazier Park. Pitch to the plate's fouled off. And the count now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Trip Cook. Schwedler gets his sign, and the 3-2 pitch on the way. Misses down low, and Trip Cook coaxes a leadoff walk. So a good start for Seneca here in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up Carson Roberts. And everybody here at Oscar Frazier Park who's associated with this tournament has their eyes on the weather this evening. There's some pretty bad stuff out to the west of us that we hope misses Oscar Frazier Park. We'll have to see what happens as the evening progresses. A second game is scheduled to follow this 4 o'clock game at 7 o'clock. And as conditions change, if they change, we'll be sure to let you know. But for right now, blue skies overhead. The sun peeks back out. Trip Cook leads off first. And Carson Roberts stands in for Seneca.
Let's count.
2-0 the count. Schwedler slows down a little bit with a runner on base. Now he's ready. 2-0 pitch on the way. Is inside ball 3. 3-0. Seneca is coached by Jay Ratliff. Check that. Seneca Junior boys are coached by Carson Roberts, Turner Wilson, Tim Cook, and Cliff Roberts. Sumter is coached by Byron Kinney, Jay Jones, and Russ Van Patten. And those coaches, as these young men, have worked very hard to get to this tournament. Seneca, the District 11 champs. And now they have the first 2 men aboard. Back-to-back walks to Trip Cook and Carson Roberts. And Braden Moore, the center fielder, strides to the plate. Following Braden Moore, Caden Hawk, the third baseman, bats cleanup for Seneca. Turner Wilson in right field hits 5th. Carson Bay, the pitcher, hits 7th. Joey McGovern in left field hits 8th. Isaac Owen, the first baseman, the pitch on the way, is outside ball 1. Aiden Evett rounds out the batting order, and he plays second base for Seneca. Runners at first and second. Nobody out, bottom of the first, 3-0 Sumter. Pickoff play on at second, but the runner back safely. We've seen that a lot too in this tournament. Sometimes that play has worked, sometimes it hasn't worked. Trip Cook leads off second. Carson Roberts leads off first. And the pitch on the way to the plate's fouled out of play. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. There are some very strong young men. And in the junior boys, they're 13 and 14 years old. Some very strong young men. That is hit high and deep into center field. The center fielder goes back, stops just short of the wall, and makes the catch for the first out in the bottom of the first. Moore gave that ball a ride, but to the deepest part of the ballpark, and it's the first out here in the bottom of the first. So Caden Hawk now the batter, the third baseman for Seneca. Runners still first and second now with 1 out. Runners lead off first and second. Schwedler gets his sign and instead looks the runner back to second. Now Schwedler's ready. And he brings it to the plate, and it's high and tight for ball 1. Lots of sponsors have made this tournament and the Dixie Boys tournament possible, and we mean sponsors like Outback Steakhouse, who fed us dinner last night at Oscar Frazier Park, Jimmy John's Subs, Local Pie, Station 300, Wendy's, and LocoSports.com. We thank each and every one of those sponsors for allowing the Dixie Boys and the Dixie Junior Boys tournaments to take place here at Oscar Frazier this week. And what a tournament it's been. 1-1 pitch on the way with runners leading off first and second. It's hit out toward short softly. The shortstop throws on to first in time. Good play. And that's out number 2. That's Clark Kinney, the shortstop, who made a good play on that, and his throw on to Hayden Mims in plenty of time. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. The runners move into scoring position, second and third. And now Turner Wilson bats for Seneca. And the pitch on the way is a check swing that misses for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Another great crowd on hand. It's a hot day, maybe not as hot as what it has been in July.
Bless you, sir.
We're in the bottom of the first in this elimination game between the Sumter All-Stars and the Seneca All-Stars. The Sumter All-Stars with a 3 spot in the top of the first, and Seneca with runners at second and third and 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. That's pop foul out of play, and the count evens up, 1 ball and 1 strike to Turner Wilson. Jess Schwedler gets his sign, and there's a check swing, and I believe Wilson went around. No indication by the umpire. And now there is 1 ball and 2 strikes. The count. Schwedler comes set, brings it to the plate. Good cut by Wilson, but he fouls it back to the screen. The count stays 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, the count to Turner Wilson. Runners lead off second and third. And the pitch on the way. Wilson ducks out of the way. The pitch was pretty close to being a strike, but called a ball, and the count's now 2-2. So deuces are wild. 2-1, 2 out, 2-2 count. And that is smacked into center field, right center field, everybody chasing it. And it's caught out there by the center fielder on a nice running catch to end the bottom of the first, and that keeps Seneca off the scoreboard. Some good defense by Sumter that half inning. And we go to the top of the second. The score remains the Sumter All-Stars 3, the Seneca All-Stars nothing. You are watching the Dixie Junior Boys right here on the County Channel. We'll be right back. So some good defense by Sumter in the bottom of the first keeps Seneca off the scoreboard. And Sumter comes to bat here in the top of the second. Blake Van Patten will lead off for Sumter. Carson Bay still on the mound for Seneca. And Bay's first pitch misses for ball one. Blake Van Patten, as so many of these other players have, lists steak as his favorite food. And who can argue with a good steak? The Benchwarmers as his favorite movie. The Chicago Cubs as his favorite sports team. Deshaun Watson as his favorite sports idol. And in his spare time for his hobbies, he likes to work out and hunt. And he's hunting for a good pitch to hit from Carson Bay, but the 1-0 pitch misses for ball two, and the count now, counts 3-1.
I thought I saw three fingers go up there.
That's in there for a strike, and let's see if the umpire will indicate the count. Believe it's 2-2. Pitch on the way. It was 3-2, and it's ball fours. So Blake Van Patten trots down to first. It's a leadoff walk for Sumter. We'll flip the batting order, go back to the top of the order, and Sean Rouse the batter. (3-0). Sumter out in front of Seneca in this elimination game in the Dixie Junior Boys State Tournament at Oscar Frazier Park in Bluffton, South Carolina. Runner goes from first, throw down to seconds, just ever so slightly off target and trickles into center field. Van Patten holds on at second. He thought about going to third, but he's kind of bent at the waist. I wonder if he's okay down there at second. Wonder if he pulled something, or maybe he's just cleaning up second base. That's all he's doing. Housekeeping from Blake Van Patten down at second. So he gets a good-sized lead. Rouse digs in, right-handed batter, another strong-looking young man. And he takes ball one outside from Carson Bay. And that is swung on and popped into left field. Left fielder started out, now comes in, and he grabs it for the first out in the top of the second. Rouse flies to left. Van Patten stays at second, and that'll bring up Dylan Jones.
Coming up to bat, number 9, Dylan Jones.
You can't really see this at home. You can kind of see it on that shot in the lower left part of the screen. The piece of the fence that the camera shoots through. Up here in the press box at Oscar Frazier, we're looking through the chain link as that pitch is ripped fair down the right field line. That's going to score a run. Jones motors around first. He's going to hustle into second. He's going to round second. He's digging for third all the way, and he's going to make it without a throw. It's an RBI triple for Dylan Jones. Blake Van Patten comes in to score, and Sumter adds to their lead. It's now 4-0. RBI triple for Dylan Jones. And now a 4-0 lead for Sumter. What I started to say before the triple was up here in the press box where we're broadcasting from and keeping score and announcing, we're looking through chain link to the playing field, but also out to the scoreboard. So sometimes if the sun's out, there's just enough glare where I can't read the balls and strikes accurately, and I apologize for that. So I'm leaning on my friend, the scorekeeper to my left here, to give me the accurate count. So if I'm off on the count and have to say correction, that's why. As that pitch is hit high and deep into center field, everybody chasing it. It's up against the wall and off the wall. That's going to score another run for Sumter as Jones comes in to score. It's an RBI double for Clark Kinney, and it's a 5-0 lead for Sumter. That ball fooled me. I thought that was going to be not hit nearly as deep, but that ended up back by the American flag hanging on the fence in center field. That wasn't too far from being out of here. But as it is, back-to-back extra base hits for Sumter have put 2 more runs on the scoreboard, and they now lead 5-0. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Jess. This is a tongue twister name for me, Jess Schwedler. Runner at second.
So just one out?
With just the 1 out, 2 runs in for Sumter and a 5-0 lead. That's ripped into left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. They're going to wave Clark Kinney around third, and he's going to score. And now into second on the throw goes Schwedler. So it's 6-0 Sumter. It's an RBI single for Schwedler. He takes second on the throw. Sumter scores 3 runs at the top of the first, and they've scored 3 runs so far in the top of the second. And they lead by a half dozen, 6-0 the score. Ben Reynolds now the batter. So a meeting takes place with both teams. Seneca meets on the mound. Sumter meets down the third baseline. It's 6-0 Sumter. 3 spots each in the top and first. The top of the first, top of the second inning. And they're not done. They have a runner down at second, just 1 out. This looks like it may be a pitching change, and it is. It's going to be Caden Hawk. So Carson Bay's afternoon is finished, and Caden Hawk comes in for Seneca. Hawk will get some warm-up tosses to get loose. And so far, Sumter's offense flexing its muscles. They lead 6-0. Well, we're supposed to, he's going too damn fast for one thing. You can't catch all that. It's You didn't just catch that on here, right? Okay, good. So new pitcher for Seneca, Caden Hawk, now on the mound, and he will face Ben Reynolds with a runner down at second. That's represents the 7th run of the game for Sumter. If they can get him in, it's a 1-ball and no strike count to Reynolds. 6-0. Sumter with the lead. And once again, Matthew Lausen takes over as the runner at second for Jess Schwedler. Schwedler with an RBI single. And now running for Schwedler is Lausen. And it's a 1-1 count. 1-ball, 1-strike count to Ben Reynolds. Hawk into the wind. Pitch on the way is on the inside corner. Runner breaks for third, and he's out for me to you. So that time, aggressive base running turns into a big out for Seneca as Lausen caught down trying to steal third base. The count's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ben Reynolds. There's now 2 outs, and the bases are empty with 3 runs in for Sumter. And the pitch on the way just misses outside. Pretty good pitch there by Hawk. And the count's even now 2-2. And that's down low in the dirt. And the count runs full 3-2. Hawk again ready. 3-2 pitch on the way. Is ripped just foul down the left field line. That was hit like a bullet and just maybe 6 inches foul. And Sumter's getting around so far on Seneca's pitchers in this ball game. They have hit some laser beams. But Seneca with plenty of time to come back, and we've seen teams come back from behind all tournament long. You saw it yesterday right here. The North Augusta junior boys came back and beat Moncks Corner late in that ball game. That strike 3 call to Ben Reynolds, and that ends the top of the second inning, but another 3 spot for Sumter, and that takes us to the bottom of the second. It's now 6-0 Sumter right here on the County Channel as you're watching Dixie Junior Boys State Tournament Baseball. We'll be right back. Seneca comes to bat in the bottom of the second with some catching up to do. They trail Sumter 6-0. Carson Bay leads off. For Seneca, he'll be followed by Joey McGovern and Isaac Owen. Schwedler still on the mound for Sumter, and he now has a 6-run lead to work with. But like I said a minute ago, these teams can come back and come back in a hurry. And a long way to go in this ball game, and that's fouled off first base side. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Carson Bay. Schwedler comes set. 1-2 pitch on the way. Outside. Counts even now, 2-2. Pitchers are limited to 95 pitches. Between 45 and 75 pitches thrown requires a mandatory 30-hour rest. And anything over 75 requires a 40-hour rest. These coaches and this tournament very mindful of the young pitcher's arms and not trying to inflict damage. That smacked up the middle. Good play by the shortstop who throws on to first. Close play but safe. That was a spectacular play by the shortstop to get to that ball. And the first baseman almost made a great scoop at first for the out. But a base runner reaches and a good start for Seneca. That was Clark Kinney who went in the hole to get that, and a good attempt at a dig out there by Hayden Mims over at first.
Now batting Joey McGovern.
But it's a leadoff runner for Seneca with nobody out, and that brings up Joey McGovern. So here comes Seneca. Schwedler into the wind, pitch on the way. Outside corner for a strike, no balls and 1 strike. Pitch on the way, that's tapped out towards second, fielded by the second baseman. Flip on to first is in time for the first out. Carson Bay moves down to second. So runner in scoring position now for Seneca with 1 out. And Isaac Owen the batter.
Coming up to bat, Isaac Owen.
Doing good there, Ethan.
Am I?
You doing good?
300 feet, the distance to the outfield wall all the way around from left to right. It's 80 feet between the bases. Runner leads off second. Schwedler gives him a look back, brings it to the plate, and it's fouled off for third base side. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Isaac Owen.
Bottom of the third inning, your score is North Northeast 1, Sumter 1. You got a good game going here at the bottom of the third. Sumter stepping up to the plate. This inning number 24, got Terry Davis, first baseman, did his all. Been a good game.
Schwedler again comes set, looks the runner back to second, and brings it to the plate. And it's swung on and missed, and the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Isaac Owen. My buddy Matt Watts is calling the other game on field 2. That's Dixie boys baseball, North Myrtle Beach, and the Sumter boys playing over on field 2. That pitch is outside. Or was it fouled away? What's the signal there by the umpire? I'm thinking it's a ball, but he indicated like it was a foul tip. But 1 ball and 2 strikes. And if the ump had a microphone where he could hear me, I'd say, or a headset where he could hear me, I'd say, lift your hands up a little higher so I could see him. 1-2 pitch on the way. That's hit off the fist, literally. And the throw on to first is in time. And I think if they wanted to, Seneca could argue interference on that, although you have to give the player a chance to make the play, but it was right in the baseline. But no objection from Seneca, so that's an out. That's the second out. A runner moves over to third. And now Aiden Evett, the batter. And if that's supposed to be pronounced Evett, I apologize. Pitch is in the dirt and pops away, but not far enough for Carson Bay to score. He stays down at third. And it counts 1 ball and no strikes to Seneca's second baseman. Runner leads off third. Schwedler comes set. Pitch on the way, instead over to third. And Carson Bay is back safely. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Aiden Evett. 2-0 pitch on the way. Is on the corner for a strike. 2-1 the count.
Now batting number 11, Cameron Coulter.
2-1 pitch on the way is cut on and missed. Something off speed. Had Evett out in front, and the count's even now 2-2. Six to nothing our score. Sumter with the lead. They scored 3 runs in the top of the first and 3 runs in the top of the second. And Seneca trying to break through here in the bottom of the second. Runner leads off third. And now they got the runner from third hung up. The throw to the plate, though, is going to be just in time. That was a closer play than maybe it should have been. And Carson Bay is thrown out trying to score. We'll see if he's okay as he limps off toward the dugout. So Seneca turned away and kept off the scoreboard. We go to the top of the third. The score remains Sumter 6, Seneca nothing. You're watching Dixie Junior Boys State Tournament action live on the County Channel. We'll be right back. We go to the top of inning 3. At Oscar Frazier Park in Bluffton, South Carolina, 6-0, the Sumter All-Stars have the lead over the Seneca All-Stars.
Now batting for Sumter, Hayden Mims. Look out.
Hayden Mims will lead off for Sumter. Caden Hawks still on the mound for Seneca. Mims stands in. And Hawk is into the wind. The pitch on the way goes behind the back of Hayden Mims for ball one. Pitch on the way is in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Hayden Mims. Check the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Apologize for that. 2-1 the count. 2-1 pitch on the way. That's hit hard and fair down the left field line. Big turn at first by Hayden Mims, but he hangs on. Now the ball must be getting away down the left field. I didn't see it. And he's going to move up to second. It must have been the throw that got away from the left fielder. Didn't track that exactly right, and I apologize. But at any rate, Hayden Mims stands down at second. I'm assuming that's going to be a single and an error on somebody. Although, to be perfectly honest, we didn't see what happened, whether the throw was bad or the throw wasn't handled. So, runner at second. Nobody out. Chase Denton, the batter. And there's a swing and a miss. No balls and a strike to Chase Denton. Hawk again ready. Pitch on the way. That's ripped to left field. Left fielder started out. It's going to get way over his head and roll all the way to the wall. That's going to score the 7th run of the game for Sumter. And it's going to be a double for Chase Denton. Left fielder broke the wrong way on that, and it got over his head and up against the wall. So it's a 7-0 lead for Sumter. It's an RBI double for Chase Denton. And now Bryson Hodge, the batter. Still nobody out, with Chase Denton, the runner, down at second. And that's hit out toward the second baseman, who catches it on the fly and looks the runner back to second for the first out. So Hodge pops out to the second baseman. Runner remains at second. Blake Van Patten will come to the plate.
Now batting, Blake Van Patten.
And the smells of dinner are wafting upstairs here at the press box, and everybody's stomachs growling all at the same time. Matt Watt's ready to fight somebody for some dinner over on the other field, field 2. The word from the truck is that it's wings for dinner. How in the heck is an announcer supposed to eat wings and announce? As that's bunted fair, and a great bunt, and the throw to first is going to be late. That was well executed by Sumter. And they're now going to have runners at first and third with one out. Back to the top of the order we go, and Sean Rouse the batter. So Blake Van Patten lays down a perfect bunt, and he becomes the runner at first. Chase Denton the runner over at third, and Sean Rouse stands in, and the pitch hits him on the numbers. That's a painful way to take a base. Rouse will trot down to first base, and that'll load the bases. Bases loaded, one out and one run in for Sumter. They lead 7-0.
Who was this? Oh, Dylan Jones.
Dylan Jones, the batter for the Sumter All-Stars. Runners get their leads off first, second, and third. The pitch to the plate is hit foul past third. No balls, one strike to Dylan Jones. Jones awaits the 0-1 pitch. Runners lead off first, second, and third, and he takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. It's 7-0 Sumter. As Sumter bats in the top of the third, they scored 3 runs in the top of the first, 3 runs in the top of the second, and they're trying to get more in the top of the third. That's popped up right toward us and right below us. And the count goes to 1-2. Tap toward third, fielded by the third baseman, coming home for the force, and he gets it. And that's a big play for Seneca as they force out the leading runner at home. So that's the second out. Chase Denton forced out at home. Bases will remain loaded as Dylan Jones now becomes the runner at first. And Clark Kinney stands in. So bases loaded with now 2 outs and a run in. And Clark Kinney digs in against Caden Hawk. Hawk looks the runners back, gets his sign, brings it to the plate, and it's all the way to the screen. Van Patten thought about trying to score on that, but goes back to third. And 1 ball, the count to Clark Kinney. Hawk again gets his sign. Runners lead off first, second, and third. That is ripped in the gap in left center field. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. 2 runs are going to score, and it may clear the bases. The throw home is high. The bases are clear. It is a bases-clearing triple for Clark Kinney, and a 10-0 lead for Sumter in the top of the third. That was an absolute rifle shot off the bat of Clark Kinney to the gap in left center field. The bases are cleared. It's a 10-0 lead for Sumter. Jess Schwedler, the batter. Kinney now the runner at third. 2 outs, 4 runs in. Hawk again sets and fires. It's in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Jess Schwedler, the pitcher for Sumter. Clark Kinney, the runner down at third. He just cleared the bases with a triple. And that's ripped into left field. But caught out there by the left fielder this time, and that ends the top of the third inning, but 4 more runs cross home plate for Sumter. And Seneca comes to bat in the bottom of the third, down by 10. You're watching Dixie Junior Boys State Tournament action live on the County Channel. We'll be right back. Seneca comes to bat in the bottom of the third, down by 10 runs. But still a long way to go and still plenty of time for the Seneca All-Stars to get back in the game. Jess Schwedler's still on the mound for Sumter.
Leading off for Seneca will be Aiden Evett.
And Aiden Evett will lead off for Seneca. He was at bat when Carson Bay was thrown out at home on the rundown that ended the bottom of the second. So Evett stands in. Schwedler into the wind, and the pitch on the way is on the outside corner for strike one.
Is this still the third inning?
Swing and a foul at the plate. 0-2 the count to Aiden Evett. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to Evett. And in there for strike 3, Evett goes down looking, 1 up and 1 down in the bottom of the third.
Now batting Trip Cook.
Base is empty, 1 out in the bottom of the third. And the pitch on the way to the plates Hit foul over toward the screen. Strike one to Trip Cook.
I see that. Yay. Hey, bud, how you doing?
One ball, one strike. The count to Trip Cook.
Well, I'm glad. That makes it all worth it.
One ball and two strikes. The count to Trip Cook. Schwedler again comes set. And the pitch on the way is in there for strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts for Schwedler. 2 up, 2 down for Seneca here in the bottom of the third.
Now that number 6, Hampton Richards.
That'll bring up Carson Roberts, the catcher for Seneca. And he takes outside for ball one.
Now batting Carson Roberts.
Play is slowed way down here in the bottom of the third. Base is empty, 2 outs. Roberts digs in. Schwedler to the plates outside, and the count's 1-0. Once again, I had the count messed up. That pitch misses outside, and I think that takes the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. 3 balls. The umpire indicates. He did not indicate the strike, so we'll go with 3 and 1. Doesn't matter because it's ball 4. Down to first with a 2-out walk goes Carson Roberts. And that'll bring up Braden Moore.
It'll scare you. There's nasty stuff moving this way. Is that where it is? So that gives us, if it's in Augusta, that gives us what? Maybe 2 hours? But if they look at that, will they start the second game and then stop it, or will they decide to just say, we'll see you tomorrow and
Up to
we'll
bat
try?
for Seneca will be Braden Moore.
I guess that really depends on if we start getting some thunder rumbles and lightning flashes. Right. Well, that's true too. Although this may be over. We'll see.
So here's Braden Moore. He bats with Carson Roberts on at first. 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Seneca trying to get back in the game. They trail by 10. And it's ball 1 to Braden Moore. 1 ball, no strikes. It's amazing how much better I can see the scoreboard when the sun goes behind a cloud. No glare to worry about. And there's a great shot from the Beaufort County drone. Robert Dixie, the operator of that drone, and he's given us some gorgeous shots of Oscar Frazier Park and of Bluffton, South Carolina, even out to the May River. Schwedler has slowed down his pace considerably here in the bottom of the third. Now he's back on the rubber. He gets his sign. Runner leads off first. The pitch to the plate is fouled off, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Braden Moore, the center fielder for Seneca.
Big curveball, man. That fell off the table. That's a strike 3. Big strikeout now for Santino. Now he first out here at the bottom of the 4th.
No, that number 7, Grant Reynolds.
Pitch on the way, and that's hit off the fist, fielded by the shortstop, who's going to tag the runner on the way by, and that will end the bottom of the 3rd. So nothing doing for Seneca. Sumter comes to bat in the top of the 4th, leading 10-0. You're watching Dixie Junior Boys State Tournament Baseball live on the County Channel. We'll be right back. We head to the top of the 4th inning here at Field 3, the Leo Vanoni Memorial Field at Oscar Frazier Park. 10-0 game. Sumter leads Seneca in this elimination game. Cecil Mitchum is going to be the batter for Sumter. Pitch on the way to Mitchum, hits him. And that's not the way Seneca wants to start. It's a hit batsman and a leadoff man aboard for Sumter.
What is that music? Oh, that was you put on elevator music. That's okay.
Runner leads off first, nobody out, top of the 4th. Dinner has been brought up to the press box, and it's like blood in the water for sharks up here in the press box right now. A feeding frenzy. That is popped up on the infield. Third baseman puts it away, and that's out number 1 here in the top of the 4th. Runner stays at first. Chase Denton now the batter.
Now batting, Chase Denton.
Caden Hawk is still on the mound for Seneca, and he delivers ball 1 to Chase Denton. So a nifty double play right there ends the inning and sends us to the bottom of the 4th with the score still 10-0 Sumter. We'll be right back on the County Channel. Seneca's going to try to get some runs as they go to the bottom of the 4th. Caden Hawk is going to lead off for Seneca.
Leading off for Seneca will be
Schwedler's still on the mound for Sumter. Sumter with 3 runs in the top of the 1st, 3 runs in the top of the 2nd, 4 runs in the top of the 3rd, and that's where we stand. 10-0 the score.
And was there a replacement for Kenny, did you say?
That's when you notice how much is being scored from the adults. Each inning.
Okay, and that's the only replacement? I think your battery's getting low. What is it now? Deschamps is number 6. Jones, Deschamps. Yep. Six.
So Caden Hawk comes to the batter's box. He leads off for the Seneca All-Stars in the bottom of the 4th. And he takes inside for ball 1. There's a good shot of the dugout and some of the crowd here at Oscar Frazier Park. Great crowds all week long, enthusiastic crowds all week long. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike to Caden Hawk. And there's a great shot from the drone from straightaway center field, or actually maybe a little bit left to center field, back toward the press box. Good shot of all the crowds and all the activity going on at Oscar Frazier this week. And with 2 tournaments simultaneously, it's a lot of action. Pitch on the way is swung on and missed, and the count goes to 1-2. Pitch is down low, and the count goes even. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Caden Hawk. Pitch is hit out towards short. Throw on to first is going to be in time, and Hawk is retired for the first out of the bottom of the 4th. Jackson Freeman now stands in for Seneca with the bases empty and 1 out. And the pitch misses outside, ball 1. Pitch is inside, and that runs the count to 2 balls and no strikes. That's on the corner. Two balls and 1 strike the count. And that's down low, 3-1 the count. Schwedler again to the plate, and it's ball 4. So a 1-out walk, and Jackson Freeman becomes the runner at first.
Up to bat for Seneca will be number 8, Carson.
And that'll bring up Carson Bay. Bay takes outside for ball 1. One 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carson Bay. And we once again want to thank all of our viewers who are tuning in at BeaufortCountySC.gov, and also those viewers who've watched on the county channel. This has been a wonderfully viewed tournament. And we thank each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts for taking time out of your schedule and tuning in to watch Dixie boys and Dixie junior boys baseball. We started this whole thing off last week with the Dixie boys Ozone division that saw Edgefield win as undefeated champs last Thursday. We'll have two champions crowned this Thursday, one from the junior division and one from the Dixie boys division. But a lot of baseball to play between now and then. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sumter preoccupied with the runner at first. And now to the plate, and it's way outside all the way to the screen, but the runner from first didn't get a big enough start to get down to second, so he stays at first, and the count's now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carson Bay. And that wild pitch brings the coach for Sumter out of the dugout for a little meeting on the mound. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Sumter leads Seneca 10-0. We're going to have a new pitcher for Sumter. Hayden Mims is going to come over from first base and take over for Jess Schwedler. And he comes in with a 3 ball and 2 strike count to Carson Bay. And Jackson Freeman, the runner down at first for the Seneca All-Stars. Schwedler exits the game having thrown 76 pitches. So he is in that pitch range where he now has to take a mandatory 40 hours rest. So 76 pitches for Schwedler. Shannon, don't make me call Brian Hill. I'll just call Stu Rodman now.
All right, back here on the county channel, ready for the top of the 6th. Score still 1-1. Step into the batter box.
Hayden Mims throws the last of his warm-up tosses. And we're about ready to resume here in the bottom of the 4th. The Seneca All-Stars have a runner on first with 1 out. And it will be a 3 ball and 2 strike count to Carson Bay when he stands back in. Mims gets the sign, and the 3-2 pitch on the way is fouled back to the screen, and the count stays 3-2. Yeah, that's going to be a balk all day long. Three balls, 2 strikes, the count Carson Bay digs back in. Jackson Freeman gets his lead off first. And Mims brings it to the plate, and that is ripped to the shortstop, who catches it and throws on to first. It's going to be in time for a double play. So that'll end the bottom of the fourth and send us to the top of the fifth. The score stays Sumter 10, Seneca nothing. We'll be right back on the County Channel. We go to the top of the fifth inning, 10-0. The Sumter All-Stars lead the Seneca All-Stars. Bryson Hodge leads off for Sumter.
Bryson Hodge.
Caden Hawk is still on the mound for Seneca. And the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Hodge digs in the right-hand batter's box, and he hits that out toward right field. That's going to get down for a base hit. It's a leadoff single for Sumter here in the top of the fifth. And the situation with this game is that Sumter currently has a 10-run lead. So if that 10-run lead remains intact when Seneca is retired in the bottom of the fifth, Sumter will win the ball game via the 10-run rule. Now, that hasn't happened yet, and it may not happen, as the runner is going to be picked off, although he's safe because nobody was covering second. So that was a pickoff play that Sumter gets away with as the runner makes it down to second. Matthew Luzon is how it says it in the thing. L-A-U-Z-O-N.
Now at that, Matthew Luzon.
So that scenario not etched in stone by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what would happen if the lead remains 10 when Seneca's retired in the bottom of the fifth inning. Pitch to the plate is on the corner. Matthew Luzon is the batter. Bryson Hodge, the runner, down at second with nobody out in the top of the fifth. Pitch to the plate is on the corner. Good pitch. No balls and 2 strikes. O2 pitch on the way is in the dirt and gets all the way to the screen, and moving over to third is Bryson Hodge. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runner leads off third. The pitch hit out towards short. The throw across to first is in time. A run in for Sumter. They now lead 11-0. Bryson Hodge comes in from third to score. Bases are now empty with 1 out. Sean Rouse, the batter. Hawk deliver, and that pitch is ripped past the third baseman down the left field line, and it is going to be a hustle double for Sean Rouse. He never stopped running, and he motors into second with a 1-out double. Another hard hit ball for Sumter. And now Dylan Jones, the batter. Hawk looks the runner back to second, brings it to the plate, and that is hit into right field, a base hit. Rouse going to be held at third, and a great throw from Seneca's right fielder. So if Rouse had tried to score, he probably would have been thrown out. So runners first and second now for Sumter with 1 out. And Clark Kinney, the batter.
Now batting will be number 11, Clark Kinney.
Swing and a foul. No balls and 1 strike to Kinney.
Back here, bottom of the 6th inning, and already messed up on 3 words into the turn from break. Top of the 6th inning. No out on third base. Dixie May looking back for
That's ripped in the hole between third and short into left field. In to score Sean Rouse. It's 12-0. Runners still first and second with 1 out in the top of the 5th. And the pitch is a strike to Jess Schwedler, the starting pitcher for Sumter. Hawk to the plate, and there's a swing and a miss. Inside, almost hits Schwedler, but he gets out of the way of it. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. Runners lead off first and second. The pitch to the plate's outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count to Jess Schwedler. Schwedler fouls it off first base side. Schwedler lists mac and cheese as his favorite food, The Sandlot as his favorite movie, the Milwaukee Brewers as his favorite pro baseball team, Francisco Lindor as his favorite sports idol. He likes to fish in his spare time, and he wants to be a marine biologist when he grows up. And he awaits the 2-2 pitch, and he swings and misses. Did he get a piece of it and foul it away? I guess he did, and the count's going to stay 2-2. Two runs in for Sumter in the top of the 5th. They lead 12-0. Hawk looks the runners back to the plate, And it's outside. The count's now full, 3-2.
How many pitches for Hawk? 50?
Pitch to the plate. Another hard hit ball, but yanked foul. And Shredler trying to take out the Beaufort County drone with that foul ball. That would be an expensive foul ball, Mr. Shredler, if that hit the drone. Just a noisy strike. The count stays 3-2. 3-2 pitch. That's ripped right to the shortstop, who catches it. And that will be a double play, and that will end the top of the 5th inning. So Sumter picks up a couple of runs. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and this represents Seneca's last chance, as it's a 12-run game. If they fail to score and the lead remains greater than 10 for Sumter, the game will end here in the bottom of the 5th. But a long way to go, and anything can happen as we've seen this tournament. It's 12-0 Sumter. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 5th on the County Channel. That's fine. Not yet, though. They haven't lost yet. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Seneca comes to bat, down by 12. Zachary Tinsley will lead off for Seneca. Hayden Mims still on the mound for Sumter. Mims into the wind, and the pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. Hayden Mims again ready, and the pitch to the plate. Hit out towards short, fielded by the shortstop, and across to first in time for the first out in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Cade Capps to hit.
Number 6. C-A-P-P-S.
Base is empty, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Pitch on the way, fouled off at the plate. No balls, 1 strike. Base is empty, 1 down, bottom of the 5th. 12-0 Sumter All-Stars over the Seneca All-Stars. Mims again ready, and the pitch to the plate. Yanked foul. over the county channel vans and out of play. Got to bring your glove, Rob Lewis. Try to catch some of those. Pitch on the way is high. Pitch on the way is in the dirt. Three balls and two strikes. The count to Cade Capps. Mims gets his sign. And the 3-2 pitch misses for ball 4. That's a one-out walk to Cade Capps. And that puts a runner on first for Seneca.
Now batting for Seneca will be Caden Griffin.
And that'll bring up Caden Griffin now for Seneca. Another game coming your way right here at Field 3 at 7 o'clock, and that features the host team, the Beaufort County team, against St. George. And we'll have that game for you live right here on the Beaufort County channel. But some work left to do here. Is runner at first and one out for Seneca. Pitch is in the dirt, gets all the way to the screen. Cade Capps is going to take second. And a runner now in scoring position for the Seneca All-Stars. Caden Griffin digs in the right-hand batter's box, and he awaits the pitch from Hayden Mims. Here it is. Swung on, hit to the shortstop, fielded, and across to first in time. That's 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Cade Capps moves up to third base. And that'll bring up Trip Cook for Seneca. Two down, runner leads off third, 12-0 Sumter with the lead. Pitch to the plates all the way to the screen. Runner's going to stay at third. One ball and no strikes to Trip Cook. Hayden Mims again comes set, and the pitch to the plate. In the dirt again. And the count goes to 2-0. The 2-0 pitch finds the corner, and the count now 2 balls and a strike to Trip Cook. Mims again comes set. The pitch to the plate's outside. Mims again comes set. Capps leads off third. The pitch to the plate is downstairs. That's going to be ball 4, and it's 2 runners on now for Seneca with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. And Carson Roberts will be the batter. So runners lead off first and third. Roberts stands in. Roberts stands in. The runners get their lead off first and third. Runner from first breaks for second. He's going to make it. So 2 runners now in scoring position for Seneca. Mims again comes set. Runners lead off second and third. The pitch to the plate is outside. The pitch is popped up on the infield, and this may do it. Mims takes it himself, and the Sumter All-Stars will win this game by a final score of 12-0. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to the Seneca All-Stars. Those young men played a tough game, and they can go home with their heads held high. So we're back with you at 7 o'clock. Beaufort County against St. George. We'll have that for you live right here on the County Channel. But for this game, Sumter wins 12-0. They move on in the tournament, and the Seneca All-Stars, unfortunately, will head home. We'll see you back here at 7 o'clock. I am Jody Vermilia. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in just a little while, right back here at Oscar Frazier Park and right here live on the County Channel.